What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. ClutchKickerNation here, bringing you some different content. We're switching it up a little bit. I gotta do a favor for a friend. Basically, he's doing me a favor, I'm doing him a favor. Basically, he needs something painted. He wanted to replace a fender on his car. I would like always to get some experience painting, so I told him I'd paint it. He buy the paint and stuff like that, and everything. And you know, we just basically I trade him the experience for a paint job, basically. So it's just a standard replacement fender, and I'm gonna go through the steps that I'm gonna take in order to paint it. Once again, we're gonna be using pretty much Sherwin-Williams paint and the U-Pole clear that I have and everything, because that's just what I'm familiar with. We're going to try out some Spray Max epoxy primer. Now, this fender, like most aftermarket fenders or body panels, comes with an E-coat, and that E-coat is very good at being a corrosion barrier between the metal, the steel, and the elements. So you don't really want to get rid of the E-coat, but it's not recommended that you paint straight onto E-coat. A lot of cheaper panel shops do it. You can do it. It's not recommended, but you can do it, and usually you have no problems. But you know, as I'm trying to learn to do quality paint jobs and quality work, and I'm going to move in here because it's kind of someone's mowing. Since I'm trying to gain experience on how to do quality paint jobs, and not necessarily paint jobs in the side of painting a car, just when I need to paint something, I want it to come out nice, and I've had pretty good luck with the engine bay, the valve covers, and all my previous paint things I've done throughout my experience, you know, my learning curve. I like to try to do things properly. Yeah, I could save some money because he didn't buy the primer. I'm paying for that. I'm paying for the clear, you know, but you know, it's a friend, so I'm trying to help him out, you know. So I could save money and just spray the E-coat. It would probably be fine. The car is kind of like just a beater type car, daily driver, nothing fancy. He would probably be happy with it, and it would probably last longer, and he's gonna own the car. But, you know, hey, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna spray some epoxy primer down over the E-coat. That'll give a nice hard surface to protect the panel from any rock chips or anything like that, so it won't expose any metal, and then just start rusting away or potentially cause any type of adhesion issues. So, that is what's recommended, an epoxy primer over the E-coat. So, he basically got color match paint and a new fender, and I'm going to show you how to prep the E-coat and then basically paint and clear coat. I always like doing these videos. Hopefully it helps you out. Hopefully it's informational and everything like that. So I'm gonna get some things, and then we're gonna go over the very first step you wanna do when you buy a brand new panel right before you even start prepping it. So let me get some stuff and I'll be back. Alright guys, so I'm gonna apologize for the noise. Like I said, someone's mowing the yard, and it's always, you know, my bad choosing of when to start a video is when that. But here we have a rag, and on this rag is lacquer thinner. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna test to see if this is actual E-coat or if this is some black primer, because sometimes you'll get a new panel and it'll be coated in black primer. And if it's black primer, you know, that's no good. You know, we want E-coat. So you take the lacquer thinner, you find a spot, and you're gonna rub the panel with the lacquer thinner. What this is going to do, if this was just black primer, it would take the primer off and everything. If this is actual E-coat, you won't notice any effect. As you can see, our rag is clean and the panel looks perfectly fine, no issues. So we can confirm that that is actual decent quality E-coat, and we don't have to worry about it. So now we just have to prep it. You're gonna basically prep it like you do any substrate for paint. You need to scuff it up so you can get that mechanical bond between the base coat, primer, whatever you're doing, and the substrate. So what I'm gonna do real quick is you can do this many different ways. You can wash it with soap and water. You can take a wax and grease remover, whatever. I'm just gonna quickly go over it with my version of wax and grease remover, which is I think I use 50% or 70% isopropyl alcohol with water, 50-50 dilution. Evaporates pretty quick. It's not a lot of water you have to clean up and dry off before you can move on to your next step. And it'll just remove any oils or dirts or grease or anything on the surface, so I can go ahead and start prepping. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up, and then we're gonna get to prepping. Alright guys, so we've cleaned the panel with our isopropyl alcohol and everything like that, and that just gets any dirt or anything off of it before we start sanding, and then embed the dirt particles into the panel and everything like that. It's just a precautionary thing. So now we're gonna grab our red Scotch-Brite, and we're gonna sand everything that we're painting with the primer. So we're gonna get all our edges really good. You know, all these edges and everything, we're gonna get pretty much everywhere here. I've tested a little bit to see, but we're gonna go ahead and just scuff this entire panel Now just remember, prep work is the most important part. So, as you see, this takes a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up prepping this with the red Scotch-Brite, and then I will bring you guys back when we're ready for the next step. Alright guys, so here is the fender with the scuffing all done. As you can see, sometimes like here there's a little bit of a imperfection in the coating, so I sanded that down. If you hit bare metal like that, it's not really a big deal because we're using an epoxy primer which is going to reseal the surface. So it's not anything to worry about. Just make sure that your epoxy primer is a DTM direct to metal primer, which the one we are using is, because there was a bare spot here from a scratch as well. So I pretty much have just went ahead and scuffed every edge and every surface with red Scotch-Brite and got a nice matte finish throughout it. I've done a secondary cleaning with the isopropyl alcohol and everything like that. I'm gonna do another cleaning, but I'm gonna put gloves on. That way the oil in my skin won't actually get to the surface and everything like that. And then we're gonna get set up for laying the primer down. All right guys, so we got the fender all cleaned up and everything, and so I'm gonna show you what I'm using. So I'm using Spray Max, which is a 2K, so it has a catalyst at the bottom that you pop with this red button and everything like that. So this is basically the same as mixing up primer or paint or whatever professionally. It's just in an aerosol can. So if you're looking for a quality 2K aerosol, Spray Max is really good stuff. Not a sponsored video or anything, but I've used some of their products. They have a really good spray panel. They have a really good spray pattern. They have an adjustable nozzle to go vertical or horizontal. I'm really impressed. But the problem is they're like $20 to $30 a can, so they're pretty expensive. But if you're in a pinch and you don't want to mix it up and clean out a gun and everything like that, I mean, give them a shot. So sadly, they didn't have the gray in stock. This is a beige. I'm shooting a silverish color, so I don't think beige should impact it any. If anything, it's a light base underneath the paint, so it should cover pretty easy. Whereas if I used like a black or something, it could be way too dark. So the only impact is I may need an extra coat to get the silver to a silver instead of being a little light. But I'm not really too worried about, because gray is a light color as well. So, you know, we're gonna send it and try it out. Alright guys, I'm going to have to scooch back a little bit to prevent any overspray from getting on the camera. But I had a little bit of problem with the nozzle. I had to take some lacquer thinner. It got a little bit of, I don't know, a little particle buildup, and it wasn't spraying properly. But as you've seen, now it's spraying pretty good. So we're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes, and then we'll go on with our second coat. Now that the spray cam seems to be functioning properly, we're going to try to lay this a little wetter so it'll lay a little flatter, because I'm trying not to sand, because this can be sprayed wet to wet, which means I can spray this, then 30 minutes later I can spray the base coat without fully letting this cure and sanding or doing anything like that, which is what I'm trying to do to cut down time and material usage and everything like that, because I am on a bit of a deadline. Alright guys, second coat's done, so now we're going to wait 30 minutes and then we're going to mix up some base coat and we're going to lay our base coat and everything like that and try to get this knocked out. It has almost been about 30 minutes, so we're going to start mixing paint and getting ready to lay our base coat. Like I said, this is able to be done wet on wet, which means that the primer does not have to be 100% fully cured in order for you to spray your base coat, which is nice. You just got to wait 20-30 minutes, just like when you apply your clear coat. So that is what we're doing, and we did get it to lay pretty flat, so it shouldn't really impact finish any. It shouldn't really cause any orange peel or weird texture or anything like that. It should be pretty good, so I'm super excited about that and everything. So I did move it into the sun so that it can get a little bit more heat on it, because it's a cooler day, and that way it will cut down flash times and everything like that. And so, you know, I don't know, I usually like, if it's a sunny day, I like to just spray under the sun, since I spray outside anyways. But yeah, I'll show you the fender real quick before we get to mixing our base coat. So here it is, looking pretty good. Like I said, the surface is pretty flat, not really any issues, large texture or anything. I really like that primer. It seems to be another Spray Max quality product. But yeah, this shouldn't really have any effect on our total outcome. You know, normally it would be best to sand and all that, but you'd have to wait for it to dry fully and then you sand and stuff, and we ain't got time like that. We're kind of doing like a production setup where we're doing wet on wet and we're trying to knock it out quick but still doing quality work. All right guys, as you know, I use Martin Senior paints. This is the paint I'm using today. It is, let's see, I think it's going to be NH675M magnesium metallic for 2000 to 2005 Honda. This is on a Civic, so we're going to mix some of this up and everything like that. Now I believe this is a 4-to-1 paint, so just like I've always mentioned, if you're doing 4-to-1, you're going to come to your column 4, so you go whatever part whatever amount of paint you put in here. So if you go to 7 here, your next step is a 7 here. And if it was a 3-part paint where you need another one, you would go to the next 7. So you always match the numbers. So we're not going to need a ton of paint, hopefully. So we're going to try to start out with like a 3 or a 4 and go from there. But yeah, I'm gonna get this all mixed up. Gotta mix the paint and stir it up real nice and everything like that, and we'll get it mixed up. Timer's going off, letting me know we're ready to spray our base. Today we're going to be using my Warwick 904H, and this one has the 1.4 tip, I believe, on it. Yeah, I'm gonna say this probably is my LVHP 1.4 tip on it. Not 100% sure off the top of my head between my clear gun and my paint gun which tip is which. They're both 904s, but they just have different tips. So let me get this paint mixed up and then we'll lay down this base. Alright guys, now we got our base all mixed up and everything like that in our cup. We did about 300 milliliters, which is probably more than enough for the experienced painter, but I tend to use more paint than necessary just because I'm not very good at judging how much paint I need and whatnot, and because I'm still learning, and that's why I do this stuff for experience. But either way, we have our paint mixed up and everything, so we're gonna get all set up and we're going to spray. So the idea is I'm going to be spraying a 2-bar, pretty much full fan, and you know, I think like 2.5 turns on the fluid or something like that. And basically I'm going to cut in the edges first, and then we're just going to go to town and spray the fender, and then try to do 2 coats, and then the 3rd coat I will probably hold the gun pretty far away and try to mist a coat on there to let the metallics and everything lay in one direction and whatnot, to try to get it so it doesn't have any tiger stripes or anything like that, so that it looks really good. We'll see how it comes out. I'm really excited. I like painting, so yeah, let's get her done. All right, there's our first coat. It's already looking good. Really liking this color. So we'll let that flash for a few minutes and then we'll come back and spray our next coat. Coat number 2. Now wait 5 more minutes, let that flash off, and then we'll finish out the can by holding it kind of far back and misting the metal flake over it, just to try to get a good flat lay of the metal flake so it doesn't have any tiger stripes or anything like that. All right guys, here it is. This is 2 coats in. The coverage looks really good so far. I don't really think I need to worry about making another coat, like as for another coat and then a, you know, a 4th coat. I think the 2 coats with a last misting coat will be plenty of coverage. I don't see any thin spots looking at it in the light and everything like that. It looks like it got good coverage. This is the Crossfire C6 high hiding, so it actually does get pretty good coverage. All right guys, we're using the DeVilbiss knockoff of the GTI and everything like that. It's the CFG GFG Pro. You can get these on Alibaba or Wish or whatever. They were, it was like $70 or whatever, and I really like the gun. You have to clean it out really well the first time, but taking it apart and stuff, it looks just like, you know, they did a good job copying it. And I hate to endorse replicas and copies and whatnot and knockoffs, but I mean, hey, we all got a budget, and I'll tell you, if it works, it works. I'm gonna use it. But we're gonna get to it, so here we go. Coat number 1. Coat number 3. All right, now it needs to dry and it's all good to go. I'll show it to you after it sits for a little bit. All right guys, I'm gonna close out this video here. So here's the finish. There's a couple little problems, a couple bugs, but I pretty much just picked them out and then filled it with clear. Kind of like how you can try to save fish eyes, dab some clear in there and then re-clear over them, only I just basically picked them out and then just shot a little more clear over it. It came out really nice. I'm really ecstatic with the finish. A little bit heavier orange peel than I would have liked. I would have liked just a tidbit flatter, but it may flatten out a little bit as it cures, but it looks really good. Me personally, if someone handed me this fender, I would be ecstatic, especially for, I mean, I think he's got 75 bucks in the whole thing and everything, including the new fender and some paint. Either way, I try to do as best I can. Hopefully it lasts him as long as he has the car, or as long as the car is on the road. Hopefully it stays looking nice, and I hope it matches pretty well. I'm kind of curious to see how that is, but here it is. Overall, it looks really good. I don't see any tiger striping. The metallic laid down really nice with our dust coat that we did, and the clear came out really nice. I had to do 3 coats to kind of fix a few of the little bugs. I could have probably got away with 2 coats since it is a high solids production clear, but I went ahead and did a 3rd coat because of a couple big bugs that got into it. But that's the problem you have when you paint outside. Overall, I think it came out really nice. I think he'll be really happy with it. I'm really happy with it. So I'm gonna try to carefully place it in the garage where it'll sit for the next couple days, and then Monday I'll deliver it to him, and hopefully he'll be a happy camper. So that's gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully that has helped you a little bit with if you are deciding to paint, you know, some fenders, bumpers, whatever. If you're just interested in how to paint. If you want to support the channel, cop a sticker, ClutchKickerNation.BigCartel.com. And I will see you on the next one. Please like, share, subscribe. Later.